Welcome back to Road to Fire. We're a family of three documenting our journey to fire, financial independence, retire early. Let's review our dividend portfolio update number two. I'll share our current strategy, our asset allocations with the portfolio update, and all of our real numbers like always, so please hang with me. I've been falling in love with dividend investing. Not sure why it took me so long to get into it, but 2020 has been the year of awakening for me among everything else that's going on. I'm loving the compounding effect of dividends and how it will fit in our overall fire plan in the future. So, a dividend is the distribution of some of a company's earning to its shareholders. This amount is determined by the company's board of directors. On top of the value and growth of the stock, you get an additional income for just owning the stock, which is really amazing. We chose to reinvest all of our dividends right now to get a great and even stronger compound effect. But when we think about our dividends, we hope this will help us balance out our current asset allocation. Asset allocation is an investment strategy that attempts to balance risk versus reward by adjusting the percentage of each asset in an investment portfolio according to your own individual risk tolerance. Think of it as having a balanced meal, but for your investments. Right now, we're really not balanced if you look at our portfolio, so let's dive into it. So here's a look into our investment portfolio as of October week 2. Our investments hit a total milestone of over $200,000, which took us to about 10.5% to our fire stock number. I'm absolutely excited about that, but as you can see, our investments are heavily weighted in index funds. Now, having index funds or a lot of index funds is not a problem, but having most of our index funds weighted in just one type of investment can be a problem. As you can see, out of all the index funds we have, 64% is in VTSAX, which is the classic fire stock, and it's a proven and tried and true one, but it's a little risky overall if you ask me. But I'm not going to lie, we do love index funds, and it shows as it represents 85% of our total portfolio, valued at about $170,000. We will always continue to invest heavily in index funds, but we'll be more mindful of what type of index funds we will add into our portfolio in the future. We then have about $16,000 in mutual funds, and this is in my current 401k at my job. And once I move over to my new role, I'll adjust and shift that into index funds. We then have only $3,000 in bonds right now, which make up about 2% of our total portfolio, which is much less than the approved or the ideal asset allocation for bonds overall. For company stocks, we have about $10,600, and that's where our dividend investment, alongside of a couple of other stocks we have that are usually in our Robinhood account, and that represents only 5% of our total stock portfolio. When I look at this graph, it doesn't worry me as my husband and I are both in our early 30s, but we need to start thinking about how to shift our mix to be better balanced overall, and hopefully dividends will play a role in that. So here's the Swenson model of asset allocation. I first read about this in the book I'll Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit. Now, this book had a very slow start as the first 200 pages were slightly elementary for me, but towards the end it got much better, so it's honestly a great read. But he outlined in this book the graph that I'm showing here on how to balance your assets to eliminate risk in the long term. In short, there are 7 different segments you should have in your portfolio. Keep in mind that no segment should equal the majority. First, you should have TIPS or Treasury Inflation Protected Securities, also known as Treasury notes. They help fight against inflation. Honestly, I don't feel like I need to have 15% of my portfolio allocated to that, but that's something my husband and I can adjust and change in the future. Right now, we have 0% in our portfolio. You then have domestic equities at about 30%, and we have about 85% currently weighted in this, which is very heavy in our portfolio overall. So that's where we potentially need to have some adjustments. For developed world equities or international stocks, that should be about 15%. We don't have any right now, but that's an easy add or adjustment we can make in our portfolio in the future. For emerging market equities, we have about 0%, and that should be closer to 5%. Honestly, I'm a little embarrassed as a daughter of immigrants. This is something I should be investing in a lot earlier, but I have not, and so that's a huge priority for us in the future. So up next is REITs, which also pay out in dividends, and they should represent about 20% of your portfolio. These are real estate investment trusts. I just recently heard about these, and I'm really working to add this into our portfolio overall to get a little bit more better asset allocation balance. And then last is bonds, and I prefer this to be around 10%, even a bit less, and right now we're at 5%. But one thing that is missing for me personally is environmental, social, and corporate governance or ESG securities, which honestly refer to three central factors in measuring sustainability and societal impact of an investment. So I hope to add a little bit more sustainable investments in our plan in the future. So our overall allocation isn't really balanced, and I hope our dividend portfolio can help us build more balance in the future. Keep in mind these are guideline percentages and not rules. Dividends also play a role in our passive income strategy. As we near retirement, or let me say this, financial independence, we'll love to use some of our dividends to help offset our expenses. But this doesn't happen anytime soon, more like 10 years from now. So I've outlined our passive income strategy in our last passive income report, and I'll link that video here. But dividends, or number 5 here, is a part of our overall strategy to help us reach our FIRE number. I see this strategy changing and adjusting over time, and dividends becoming a stronger priority for us as we continue to test and learn what areas work best for us. Right now it's marked as a number 5, but this is probably going to shift to maybe number 4 or 3 in the next coming months. Our plans are not exact. These are guidelines on how we hope to reach FIRE. Things will always adjust and change, and that's okay. It's a part of life. But for the remainder of the year, our focus is to increase our passive income through real estate investing via house hacking and then dividends via dollar cost averaging. We always invest using the DCA methods as it's simple, tried, and effective. Let's review our dividend portfolio in detail. We do have a dividend index fund, which was a part of the 85% in our portfolio update, but this section will only focus on individual company stocks and hopefully REITs in the future. So here is our dividend stock portfolio. I'll link the video to why we selected these 4 stocks here, which will provide more detail and background on how we developed our portfolio. But in our portfolio, we have IBM, AT&T, Exxon, and Coke. We stick to telecom and CPGs when investing in individual companies because these are the industries that we understand and know. If you don't know already, I work in marketing in the CPG section, and this industry is something that I know and love to invest in as it's easy to understand the company's overall strategy. We started this portfolio with a $1,000 and have contributed a consistent $200 a month since inception, making our total contributions to date about $1,400 even. As of today, the stock price for AT&T is about $28 and we hold 11.64 shares. We then have about 2.79 shares of IBM priced at just under $128. We also have 7.23 shares of Coke and about $51, and then 8.34 shares of Exxon at $34. So thank you so much, Robinhood, for allowing fractional shares. Since inception, we've seen a slight downward movement on 2 of our stocks and gains on Coke and IBM. Our total portfolio is valued about $1,350, and we are down about $52 so far. And last month, we received our first dividend payment, and this month we got another one. We received $2.54 from Coke last week, and it never hurts to see free money come in. Growing this portfolio is a key priority for us in the last quarter of the year. I always share a watch list that fits into our CPG industry, but I hope to start adding in REITs in here as well to kind of gain that diversification that I spoke about earlier. So what are the next steps for our dividend portfolio? The first one is to make it official with auto investing, like every other part of our investment strategy. Right now, I've been a little hesitant to see if this is an avenue that we want to pursue, but I'm sold. I love dividends, so I'll make that official in Robinhood this weekend. Then I want to broaden our dividend search and add in some REITs into the mix to just build on that diversification I've been preaching about, and then increase our investment from $200 to $400 a month, which will require me to reevaluate our October budget and our future budget for November and the remainder of the year. One thing for me that really works is once I write down my next steps, it honestly becomes like the 10 commandments to me, and I have to complete it. So writing down your goals is a very effective way to reach your plans long term. So, you know I love a good bar graph. Here's our dividend payouts for the year so far. Not much, I know, but this time next year, we'll hope to add another 0 to each of these numbers. I can't wait to look back on this in a couple years and see how strong of a trend we really have. But in September, we got $5.54. In October, we got $2.54 for dividends. So far, we received $7.99 from our portfolio. That, my friends, would get you a $5 footlong and a drink in my state after taxes. Now, this number will do nothing but grow in the coming months, so I'm excited to join this ride and see how far we can come in the next coming months. Now, if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching, but don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time.